Ah,
We have to
Just
hear.
hold on,
oh,
hold
okay.
on.
Thank
Hello,
you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
can you
we
hear
can
me?
hear you now. We can hear you now.
Oh, sorry, you lost me for a bit. All
Yes,
right.
yes.
So I was saying that I'm going to make this 15 minutes uh, talking, and then I'm going to give time for question and answers for the rest of the 15 minutes. It's a 30-minute pep talk, so it's going to be quite short. And I'll be talking about talent and opportunity. I want to assume that we know what talent means and we know what opportunity means. But just to clarify, talent is something that you have. Say, let's say it's a skill. It's something you've developed, and opportunity is that thing that allows you to express that skill and to express that opportunity, right? If I were to ask a lot of people today, I believe everybody here on this call speaks English, right? Which I wouldn't consider it a talent, but it's similar to having a talent, right? And being able to speak English gives you the opportunity. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can
sir.
hear
Yes,
you.
sir.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Someone said
Very
it's
clear.
breaking,
Very
so I
clear.
wasn't sure. All right. So if we were to consider speaking English a kind of talent, you might imagine that people who don't speak English would not have the opportunity to join in this call or to make conversation like we're currently doing, right? So which brings the point, if you consider talent as a skill that you have, an opportunity as something that allows you to express that skill or that talent, then the two must go hand in hand. Because what's the point of having talent if there's no opportunity to express that? Um, if there's no opportunity to express the talent, which will bring me to my next point, which is talent is everywhere, but opportunity is not everywhere, right? You might have seen that online on the internet. It's a very popular quote. You know, say talent is everywhere means everybody's talented, everybody can write, everybody can read. Well, mostly, but the opportunity is not everywhere. Like if you look at different countries, different geographical regions, you see opportunity is uneven. Like if we take, for example, compare Nigeria to the US, right? You might imagine that there's more opportunity in the US in terms of I mean job opportunities, not just opportunity in a very general sense. So say job opportunities than you would find in Nigeria. That is not to say Nigeria is not good. That is not to say Nigeria is a terrible place to live in, right? I was born and raised in Nigeria. I grew up in Nigeria, and I know what it looks like to live in Nigeria. But the point that I'm trying to make is that everybody can be talented. Everyone can develop a skill or another. Everyone can master a skill or another. But everyone might not get the opportunity to express that skill, right? I consider myself, for example, working at Google. I don't see it like, oh, I'm better than everybody else. No, I just think I just had the opportunity. Yes, I had the skill. I can write code. I can write programs. I can design software systems. But then there was an opportunity at a certain time. I got the opportunity to interview. Not everybody might get that opportunity, all right? And that is why today I already consider everyone on this call privileged. The fact that you're going through some sort of computer science education, you're learning something. It's UX, it's front end design, it's back end programming, whatever thing you're learning at all. It's program management or product management, product design, whatever thing you're learning. Consider it as an opportunity, right? And then if we were to stretch this further, you might also consider that for you to also own the skill that you're currently learning now, you would need some sort of, say, a job opportunity to allow you go further in this area. And that is why, like I said earlier, talent and opportunity must go hand in hand. It's not enough to be talented. It is not enough to be skilled. It is not enough to be to master a certain something that you love to do, a passion. Let's call it a passion, for example. You need the opportunity to pay your bills, for example, or you need the opportunity to find some sort of fulfillment, to be happy with what you're doing. Maybe you want to buy your parents something. Maybe you want to send your kids to the best schools. I mean, we all have big dreams, and for us to live those big dreams, our talents must be combined with opportunity. All right, I've spent a lot of time trying to talk through talent. Now, I am going to rephrase that, the phrase that says talent is evenly distributed, but opportunity is not, to the fact that talent is evenly distributed. And as I'm currently seeing it now in the world that we live today, opportunity is gradually being evenly distributed. I mean, look at what has happened so far with COVID. Everybody's working from home. For a fact, I know of Google engineers who are hired in Nigeria, the same Nigeria that is existing today. So I know of a Google software engineer. He's currently in Nigeria. He was hired by Google and he's currently working from Nigeria. Eventually, he would move to the office where he's based in. But the point that I'm trying to make is that opportunity gradually is becoming evenly distributed, because the world that we live in today, the internet it has allowed us this global reach. Everything it's ubiquitous. You could be in Sri Lanka and you're working for a company that's based in the Netherlands. You could be in the US and you're working for a company that's based in Singapore. So which means that in some sense, if we continue to say, oh yeah, talent is evenly distributed, opportunity is not, and then we fold our hands and say, oh no, there's nothing we can do because the government is bad, this is not good, then we may not make a lot of progress. But if we start to see it in the way the world is moving to globalization, things are changing very rapidly. We are starting to, even the way we work is changing. Who would have imagined that? I mean, think about our parents. They carry their bags, they go to work. Every time I tell my parents that I'm working from home, they're always asking me, have you lost your job? Is everything fine? Because they can't imagine how I'll be home. I've been home for the last, say, 5-6 months. I've never been, I've not gone to the office to work. And I'm getting paid, I'm doing my job, I'm meeting my teammates online, which is very rare, which basically means I could move to a different country. I could go somewhere else and nobody's going to know. I just keep doing my job. And everything will be as if, it's just a normal day, right? And the point that I'm trying to make is that opportunity is gradually being evenly distributed. And the moment we start to see in that light, we don't get discouraged, we don't get despondent, we don't just fold our hands and complain and grumble. I know we have a lot of reasons to complain. When I visit Nigeria a bit, say once in a year, twice in a year. And sometimes also I have reasons to complain about, oh my God, the road is so bad, this and that, there's no electricity, yada, 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 all the things that we like to complain about. But the point that I'm trying to make is that things are changing. Things are changing in the sense that if you don't find opportunity in Nigeria, you can find the opportunity elsewhere. And you don't even need to leave Nigeria, right? This is the point that I'm trying to make. I'm talking to you today. I'm not with you in Nigeria. I assume there may be other people also who are not based in Nigeria on this call. But the point that I'm trying to make is that this wouldn't have been possible, say, 20 years ago, say 25, 30, 40 years ago. Right? We didn't have Google Meets. We didn't have Hangouts. We didn't have all the things, shiny things that we have today. Which tells us that, in some sense, the margin is closing. You don't necessarily need to. You don't necessarily need to be in a certain place to enjoy a certain kind of privilege. Right? If you put yourself in the right position, if you create the right amount of visibility, I always tell people that usually what differentiates people today who are talented is visibility. Right. So let's say you have 5 programmers, they're very smart, they're very brilliant, and 4 of them don't have LinkedIn accounts, and 1 of them has a LinkedIn account. Right. Which of them do you think is more likely to get reach outs from recruiters, from people who want to help them go further? It's the one who is on LinkedIn. Right. So that's why visibility is important in trying to leverage the paradigm shift in our opportunities distributed. I said earlier that the popular quote is that talent is evenly distributed, but opportunity is not. I'm saying that the paradigm is shifting to the fact that talent is evenly distributed. Now opportunity is gradually becoming evenly distributed, but now you need to create visibility to exploit the paradigm shift. You need to be out there. You need to, contribute to open source. You need to write blogs. You need to, help people. I think one of the things, I never applied to Google, if I'm being honest, right? I got reached out to by a recruiter. I answer questions on Stack Overflow. I write blogs about programming, and I was not the best. It wasn't like I was the best programmer in the world. I mean, I don't even think I'm the best now, right? I know a lot of people who don't work at Google and they program better than myself. But the point that I'm trying to make is that you need to create that visibility to exploit that talent, or to exploit the opportunity, to exploit the paradigm exploit the paradigm shift. I'll finalize by saying that, yeah, try to go through with whatever you're doing today and try to know very deeply what you're doing. Because when opportunity shows up and talent does not meet opportunity, the opportunity will be lost, right? I mean, it goes without saying. When people go for interviews, they want to test that you're talented. Now, the fact that you're interviewing is an opportunity, right? But if you show up at the interview and you can't measure up, so they say, oh, okay, you want to work as a front-end designer, UX user experience researcher, as a data scientist, or as a software engineer or software developer, and they give you a small test. And as it turned out, well, you were not well prepared and you flunked the test, right? Well, you won't flunk your test, but this is just an example. It's a very trivial example, right? And you say, let's say the person flunks the test. Well, they lose the opportunity, which goes to say that you also need to own your talent, right? You need to focus on what you're currently doing today, all the trainings that you've been given, all the things that you're learning. You need to go beyond what you're even doing in class. You need to personally embrace this thing as a project, embrace it as a passion. Don't just see it as a way to get out of, don't see it as a way to just pay your bills. It will pay your bills, but don't see it as a way to just pay your bills or just get stuck up in a company and, not have to worry about life anymore. No, just take it as a passion, take it as a pet, embrace it, enjoy it, just go deep into it. It will pay your bills eventually. I can assure you, right? But the most important thing is that you develop that talent so that when opportunity shows up, you don't lose it. Finally, I'll just rehash what I said. Talent is evenly distributed. Opportunity is gradually being evenly distributed. And what makes a difference now is the amount of visibility that you create. Yeah, that's my talk. I believe people might have questions. You feel free to type if you want to, because I know it'd be hard for people to unmute themselves and talk. So you could type, and I can take the questions from text, and then I'll read the questions, and then I'll answer them if you have questions.
So thank you very much, Mr. Moses. If you have a question, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Michael. Good afternoon, Mr.
Yes.
Moses.
Afternoon.
Yeah, just go with Moses. I'm fine with Moses. Drop the Mr.
Moses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, this question might not really be that of an intellectual question, but I just want to understand something. Like how does it feel working in Google as a Nigerian? Okay, like you wake up in the morning and you're like, where am I going to work today? Oh, it's Google. I mean, like, how does that feel? Like, I just want to use this, like, it's not like it's, well, it is important too. I just want to use it as
It's a very good question. It's a very good question. Yes, I think we all feel privileged. This is not only myself, and it's not only me because I'm a Nigerian. I think even everybody, people who went to Stanford or went to Carnegie Mellon or wherever they went to Harvard, yada yada. I mean, we all feel privileged. It's one of the things that I'm grateful to God for. Like, I wake up in the morning, I want to log into my computer, and I remember, wait, I'm logging into a Google machine. Oh my God, I work with Google. So occasionally that happens, right? It happens, say, like, I don't know, once in a week, once in a month. It happens, right? That is not to say that we just go merry-go-round. Oh yeah, we work at Google and that's it, right? There's a lot of the projects that you get are very challenging, and sometimes that's also what reminds you that you work at Google. Right, so they tell you, oh, we need to, change the way something works with Gmail or, I don't know, Play Store or YouTube. And it's a very difficult problem. You need to solve it within a certain time frame. And that reminds you, oh, yeah, I work with Google. That's why I'm getting this very difficult problem. Right. So it's a two-way thing. You are happy that you're working because you get all the perks for working at a company like this. And then also you get reminded when you start to solve the difficult problems that you solve. Right. So, but it's something that humbles you generally, if that answers the question.
Of course, it does. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
I'm sir. Sir, I just want to ask some questions, not really a lot of questions, but I understand that doing the software developer, that kind of process, that lots of process. So what can you say to what sort of advice or what can you have from the process, can you have from the journey so that you can tell to someone who has made up the night to put in his focus into tech, to put in his focus into um doing the data person in tech, you understand, right? Is ready to go fast. Even though it's not in the system yet, but is ready to put in the hard work and come to achieve something that they have done now. The other stuff and chances.
Yes, yes, I perfectly understand your question. If I were to use,
What will you say?
yes, yes, there's no one, there's no one way to become. If I were to use, permit me to use this word, a world class software developer. There's no one route to that destination. In fact, it's a journey because you keep learning. But if I were to think about how I moved from, how I started, got into software development and moved on, I would say this. Pick up one programming language and master that programming language, right? So I see a lot of people today, they they could you mute yourself, Eniola? Sorry, because there's some background noise. Thank you. I see a lot of people, young people today. I'm still young, but people younger than myself going into software development. Some of the mistakes that people make is they're trying to learn multiple things, like multiple programming languages at the same time, which is fine. It's good. It's good to try to learn Ruby, Python, C++, blah blah blah, right? But ensure that while you're learning all of those things, you master one programming language. If you were to interview with if you were to interview with a multinational, most multinationals, they don't really care what language you program in, right? I mean, the choice of the programming language is ephemeral to the fact that you know how to program, right? And that's why I always say that, spend your time, bend your back and just focus on one thing. If you know that you're learning Python, try and learn Python end to end. Ensure that you've read at least, say, 2 books end to end that talk about Python. You go from Pali to Pali, like they always say, right? Ensure that you just give your all to it. You read programs in Python, you write programs in Python, you answer questions online, you ask questions online. I mean, when I was so I before I joined, I used to program C++ and Python, but I interviewed in Python. All the interviews that I did, I think I interviewed with Yelp, I interviewed with Google, I interviewed with a company in Milan, but just different companies, and I did all of those interviews in Python. And why? I've been programming Python for 3 years. I think I'd probably read at least 2 books in Python. I'd written lots of lines of code, more than 10,000 lines of code in Python. And I follow people that program, talk about Python on Twitter. I just give all my everything to Python, right? I could program C++, I could program Java, but I just made Python my one good program. Because the moment you're interviewing, they could ask you anything, right? And so you want to be the master of the game. You want to be in a space where you really master everything, because the question can be anything. They could ask you about trading, they could ask you about hash maps, they could ask you about concurrency, anything at all, databases. So you just must reach a point where you've mastered everything, you've turned everything from back to back, right? So I'd advise people to focus on one thing, and not see programming as just a way to pay your bills, like I always say. See it as something you can develop as a passion, right? And when you embrace it that way, it's only a matter of time. You also have to give it time. You don't learn programming in 6 months and just think you'd become a master easily like that, right? Like I say, it's a journey. It's not even a destination. I'm still learning. I'm still learning Python. I'm still learning C++. I'm still learning over and over again. Just give it time and you get there.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
Hello,
Moses.
Mr. Moses.
My
Yes.
name is Dan.
Hello, Mr. Moses. Can you please check the question in the comment section?
Yes.
Okay.
Check the comments.
Thank you.
Can I speak now?
Yes, please go on. I will look at yes, please go on. I'll answer the one in the comments later.
Okay, thank you. My name is Damnala. I know you said some of the software development languages does not really matter during interview, but I would like to know if do you have any idea about C#, if it's still relevant in the community?
Yes, C# is very relevant.
Okay.
The first programming language that I learned for a fact was C#. So it is still very relevant, and it's one of the most used languages at Google, if I remember correctly. So,
All right. Thank you very much.
all right. So there's a question from David Oyewale. Making a talent a pet sounds awesome, but how do you know your what? Well, usually defining your what is hard. It's not trivial, but there's always a baseline, right? And the way you generally know your what is what are other people earning, right? So if someone works at whatever company they work at, and online, if you go to Glassdoor is GL, glass and door, you could generally learn what other people are earning. So usually when I go to interview at a company, I check what reviews people have left on Glassdoor or LinkedIn or Payscale, or I think Indeed, if I remember correctly. There are a lot of sites, right? So I look at the amount of years of experience that I have. So let's say I have 2 years experience. This guy also has 2 years experience. I can say I should earn within 15% of a margin of what the person is currently earning, right? And that's how you judge your worth. We don't just throw numbers around, because that will be hard. If you throw numbers around, it's possible you'll be underpaid, because let's say someone is earning a certain X amount, and then you now estimate a Y amount that is, say, 70% less than that, because you think it's a lot of money, but to the company it's not. Or maybe you overestimate yourself also, and the company is like, wait, you're a graduate and you're asking us to pay you this. That doesn't make sense, right? So you go online, you just go to Glassdoor, Payscale, LinkedIn, you find out what other people are earning, and that's how you generally judge your worth. You generally don't know what you're worth. It's hard to estimate what you're worth, right? There's a question from Ajala Mashood. Let's see if I have a question before that. How do you create the required visibility to attract opportunities? Well, this is very interesting. Yeah, one of those ways is to put yourself online. Be connected to people that can hand you opportunity. One of the things that I did over the last 3-4 years is I connected with recruiters. I don't add my friends to LinkedIn. I mean, I'm already friends with my friends on Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. So why am I adding them on LinkedIn? If they want to give me a job, they can always message me and say, hey, Moses, there's a job for you, right? So the people that I add on LinkedIn are people that I think can actually help me. And those are recruiters, right? So what I do is I connect with recruiters. If I see you're a recruiter at some place, I'll add you. Recruiter at this thing, I add you. Recruiter at that thing, I intentionally search for them, right? And then when you search for those recruiters, they become part of your network. Then I start to signal. I start to signal myself. I start to write blogs. You know, I write blogs about programming. And oh, this guy knows how to program. And then they message you, oh, would you like to interview with us? Because recruiters the job that they do is look for talent, right? And so you bring in yourself forward and say, hey, look, I'm talented. They would just, you know, they would want you to interview with them, right? So the point being, it's not only LinkedIn. There are other ways to do it. Like I said, you could be writing blogs. You could be answering questions. One of the things that I do best, or that I did best back in the days, was Stack Overflow. I think I'm in the top 0.2%. So if you know what that means, not 1%, 0.2% of developers in Stack Overflow, which means I spent a lot of time answering questions on Stack Overflow. There were times people would just reach out to me and say, hey, I saw your profile on Stack Overflow. Would you like to do a survey? Not even an interview, just a survey, and we'll give you a $50 voucher. I didn't know this person from Adam. I don't know them from anywhere. They just feel like, because I'm in the top something on Stack Overflow, they feel like I'm an experienced developer. So these are one of the ways you could also create visibility. If you want to do data science, you should be on Kaggle. If you know what Kaggle is, Kaggle is KAGGLE.com, right? Kaggle is also one of these. You take projects, you solve them, and you know, people who are looking to hire computer science, data scientists will come and say, oh, wow, this guy is very smart. Or you go to HackerRank or LeetCode or whatever, if you want to be a software engineer, and you answer questions to show that you actually know how to solve problems relating to algorithms and data structures. That's generally how I would advise that you go. A lot of questions are coming in, but I will not be able to answer them. Is PHP still relevant? Yes, it still is. And this is to give as much opportunity like Python does. Yes, I think. I mean, it depends on what you're doing. Facebook started out with PHP. And yeah, I think a lot of people still use PHP, so it's still very much relevant. What books would you recommend for a Python beginner? Dive into Python, I think, for a beginner, maybe to dive into Python, maybe, yes. I think there's a Python for Dummies. Yes, there's a book for dummies. There's always so the dummies there doesn't mean the person is a dummy. There are books called something for dummies, so like C# for dummies, Java for dummies. So I think there's a Python for dummies. You can start with that. I think I probably read that, and I read Dive into Python. I don't remember. Yeah, but if you search online, material for beginners Python, you would find something. I'll take a final question. From Stephen, for someone currently in other career path, for instance, social science field and with passion for system audit or product design, if such an individual go for skill acquisition and certification in engineering, have a chance of career growth? Oh, you have the same chance of career growth as anybody else. Like I said, just spend your time. I did electrical engineering for first degree. I didn't do computer science. And I know people who did economics, physics, who are currently software engineers, very good software engineers, database administrators, product designers, account managers. So so the point that I'm trying to make here is it doesn't really matter what your initial background is. If you are willing to pivot, if you're willing to pay the price by learning this new skill, if it's product design or if it's system audits, you're willing to spend a considerable amount of time to develop the necessary expertise. So you want to get certifications, you want to you want to master all the skills in that area. Then I don't see why it should be difficult. I think I'm out of time and 1 minute beyond time, and I would not like to take your time for that. So I think I'll stop here. If there are more questions, you can route them through Micah. I may be able to answer them offline. Thank you very much. I think this is where I leave it to you, Micah.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. All right. So
Thank you,
if there are
sir.
any questions, I'll send it to you personally through your email. All right. So thank you very much and do enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.